Yeah. All right. Well, hey, this is, I don't know what we'll name this. This is just for fun. And maybe we'll post it. Maybe we won't. What do you think?
Start over. Just start over.
Start over. It's just in. It's just in. I'm not doing any sort of editing. If I was editing, I'd edit off that stupid hat.
No, we're not editing off the stupid hat. This is a classic hat, okay? If you might not have noticed this, even though I don't know why you're wearing a Yankees hat.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Speaking of things to edit, this is a classic. There are people that want to see the creamsicles come back. How many people today during the Bucs uniform reveal wanted the creamsicles to be a part of it?
You know, we talked beforehand on how this show was going to go, and you immediately hijack it with Buccaneers stuff. That was literally like third thing down.
You know, that's the great thing about a show like this, John. We kind of fly by the seat of our pants, and anything can come up. And at the same time, you bring up hats and you knock my hat around, I'm going to bring it up. And, you know, it's
all right.
It's well,
all I can say is when we did the pre-test about 10 minutes ago, you weren't wearing clothes. So it's a step up. You got clothes on. I'm wearing this hat because I love the Mets, one. Sorry. Oh, this is the Yankees hat. And two, I just really want to make my dad mad if he watches this. And being Dodger fans, we hate this team. So,
but see, that's the one question. Why do you even own that hat?
Because when I decided I was going to try to hit every major league stadium, my goal, my thing to buy at every stadium, I decided would be a hat. So when I bought this hat, I actually got it at Yankee Stadium, and I picked it up with 2 fingers and dropped it on the counter, and the lady laughed at me. But here I am wearing it. So who's the joker now?
No, you're still the punchline.
Oh, absolutely. So okay, punchline, says the guy wearing the bucket hat that looks like, what's the name of the pirate?
Bucko Bruce.
Bucko Bruce. Sounds like someone in rehab.
No, he was drawn after the Earl of Flynn, man.
The what?
Earl of Flynn.
Errol Flynn?
Errol Flynn, whatever.
All right, we already got gold. That was one goal. Anthony mispronouncing names. Okay, you got to put the hat back on. Because honestly, your hair looks bad.
Oh, well, thank you.
Push it back a little bit.
With friends like you, John, who needs enemies?
Who needs an enemies? That's what I say. Okay, you want to get serious for a minute?
Sure, why not? We haven't been serious yet.
Okay, Thursday, MHSA meets for sports. You think they cancel?
All signs seem to point to that particular direction. Personally, I'm hoping what they're going to say is they're going to reevaluate on April 24th when the governor's directive order ends. Give it another 2 weeks and just see what happens. From what I have seen from other organizations, and in particular the FHSA, which is the same sort of body for Florida as the MHSA, they are looking at extending eligibility. Now, we're not talking about college-wise. We're talking about just extending the season beyond graduation. I think you can make that circumstance a one-time deal. You could play softball or track into June, and I don't think it would be a huge problem. Like, if you, again, obviously, all of this depends on if you can start May 1st. And I think if they said we'll reevaluate April 24th and have that on the table, then I think you can definitely still get a spring sports season in. But at the same time, I would say if April 24th, if we can't start by May 1st or May 10th, then you have to cancel the season by April 24th. But I hope they will say, let's reevaluate April 24th, because there have been some positive things earlier this week. Again, doesn't mean that this thing's going to end anytime soon and all of that. I don't think we're going to see all of a sudden a lift in 2 weeks. But, again, just that possibility, just because we are seeing some progress.
Well, yeah, and I tend to agree. I really hope they don't cancel it like this soon. I hope they give as much time as they possibly can. What I do –
I wonder if you can bet on this on the new Montana sports gambling machines.
No, because you can't bet high school, right? I
Yeah,
wouldn't.
but you're
No.
not technically betting. You're not technically betting high school sports.
Are you going to bet on that?
High school decision.
Are you a gambler?
No, I'm terrible. I'm a terrible gambler. You know this. How many bets have I lost with you?
Every one of them. So
Pretty much.
yeah, but I never win bets that actually involve money. So
That's because I'm not stupid enough to gamble with money.
yeah, true. So here's my deal with MHSA. Whether they cancel it or not, I think this is what is frustrating to a lot of people, especially parents who have seniors, and players in general, but especially seniors. I think they're just frustrated with the negativity and how fast people are wanting to cancel a season. And you see people on Twitter and people on Facebook and people in the media that just want to cancel it right now. And I understand why they're saying that. I get it. But it just is coming across extremely heartless, in that you're taking out the human element of this, of the seniors and of the players being able to play. So in my opinion, even if you have to wait until the 10th and maybe you only have 2 weeks of just maybe scrimmages or just some fun get-togethers with, like, let's say softball, maybe Helena and Capital have some games back and forth and all of that. I think at least do something. I just don't see what you're saying as far as moving this, allowing them to play after graduation. I don't know if that would be a thing that would be able to happen here, but I mean, it could, but I don't see that happening.
My only question would be, is it just why not though? Like, what is the circumstance that would disallow that? Because it's just like, it's no different, I mean, than summer when you have fall sports. Like, I mean, essentially volleyball starts before school starts, football starts before school starts, golf starts before school starts. I mean, I just don't see what the issue is if you move this past into June just for a 1 year period. Because again, like I said, I mean, I just don't know where the big issue is. If there's a big issue, a big problem, whether it's communication, bus drivers, those types of situations, facilities, if that's an issue, then okay, I get it. But I mean, I have to at least imagine that has to be an option that's on the table, because again, I mean, if you really do want to try and get this thing in, and I think a lot of administrators do for the kids, because obviously, as we know, the NCAA and the college spring sport athletes, they're going to get another year of eligibility. That's not going to be an option for any of our seniors this year, because I just look at some of the kids, like, you know, Glacier softball was going to be really good this year. Chance Sheldon Allen, a defending state champion, the 100-meter dash. I mean, there's a lot of great competition that, especially here in Montana, we're going to miss out on, and I just don't see what the difference is whether or not we extend past graduation, because, I mean, you have camps and stuff going on anyway.
Well, could it be an issue of insurance?
And that's a good point. I don't know. Again, you have to obviously do your due diligence with your insurance company and see if they'd be able to or be willing to make an exception. But at the same time, though, what are you doing with all the camps that you're running? You know, I can't imagine that.
Well, I think I could be totally wrong on this. So we
I
probably
guess this is something that we don't know. This is an MHSA administrator type deal.
Yeah, and I think with camps, I think camps carry you're signing waivers, signing off insurance, I think.
Okay.
And they probably have some sort of insurance just strictly for the camp if something was to happen, sort of liability insurance. So I just wonder if kids, when they're no longer, you know, actually students because they have that diploma in their hand and they're transitioning, I just don't know if the insurance for the school would allow them to stay on. I have no idea. I mean, you and we're not obviously versed in this, but it's just some interesting things to talk about, because I mean, I've talked to Coach Schulte just in passing, and Coach Mergel for softball for Helena High. Just literally, we kept our 6 feet distance and all that, but just as I'm driving by, I see them and say hi and ask them, and they just want to have a season so bad for the kids and all of that. So I would say the odds are probably we're not going to have a season, but I just think it's not bad for those players and for the coaches to have hope that there could be an option for it, even if it is just a few weeks.
And in speaking to that hope aspect, because I feel like I kind of agree with you, and I don't think that some of these people they're heartless by any stretch of the imagination, but it just surprises me that we're to a point that people are willing to kill hope. That's what bothers me. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand this pandemic. I understand that we have to take this seriously. I get all of that. We all need to take it very seriously,
Well, I
obviously.
mean, let's be honest. You're like walking coronavirus. That's how you've been the last 5 years. So
Yeah, I was about to say, every time I walk into a room, people just start running anyway. I've been keeping social distancing for the last 5 years. I've been well practiced at it.
I just call it Anthony Nachreiner.
But again, I just don't see, getting back to the point, I just don't see what the difference is between canceling it Thursday or waiting 2 weeks and making a decision then and reevaluating your options. That's all I can really say to that, because again, I would rather have hope and you kill it in 2 weeks than for you to kill it and then all of a sudden something changes in a couple of weeks, but maybe we can't get it back because it's already been canceled.
Well,
Like, here's that's the funny thing about all of this. Again, I'm basing it off of if something crazy happens and all of a sudden we can get back to some normalcy, which I know the experts are saying probably isn't going to happen. But why cancel it and take that option off the table?
well, and this is what I think. The people that have made the argument that they should cancel have always, talked about Washington and Idaho and even Wyoming, which kind of surprised me actually with Wyoming. But our governor, Steve Bullock, has been very measured, in my opinion, as far as slowly. He's not just throwing blankets every 30 days. He's given it about 2 weeks every time. So I would like to see the MHSA just follow his lead. And today he came out and said till the 24th, I believe, of April. Just say till the 24th. We'll reevaluate, that week of the 24th, which is a Friday. And then that gives, the MHSA and the teams leeway that if all of a sudden Bullock says, hey, the curve is flat, it's to a point where we're comfortable that we can start school May 1st. Those teams only have to get, I believe, 5 practices in, and then they can go and play. Then those kids are able to have a season. And then just talking about beyond the fields and the track, think of these seniors, man. None of us have ever been in this point. If anyone has been in this point, they are like 100 years old. But imagine you're a senior and you're not getting prom, though I didn't go to prom. I TP'd cars at prom, but that's a whole nother topic someday. But they don't get to go to prom. They may not get to walk at graduation. They don't get that, that release of being done with that last final. And, at Helena High, it's kind of a tradition. The seniors throw their papers all out in the hallway. And then there, there's typically a skip day, which basically is turned into a skip month. They're missing out on all of that. And if for anything, even if they can only come back for 2 weeks, I think it would be worth it for those seniors.
And I would also say to this, and I'll counter your point just a little bit, because obviously, these lessons.
You can't counter. This is my show. Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
I would just say this. I mean, obviously, in life, we've all had to make tough decisions. We've all had to deal with things that aren't fair or anything like that. And that may come to be the situation that these seniors may have to deal with and may have to just, put on a brave face, grin about it, and just tell a story and just say, yeah, I didn't even go to school for the last 3 months of my senior year, even though I know kids are taking online classes right now. So they are doing that. But I think I get to, like I said, I see both points of this thing. I just think the positive stuff, keeping people positive, and that's what I've said on numerous occasions to many people. I would rather be positive in this type of environment, in this type of situation, than trying to be calculated and, all of those types of things. I'd rather have hope than continue to not have any at all, because I think, if we do start getting to this point where, okay, we're, obviously football season's being talked about as potentially in jeopardy, and we could maybe not even have a fall sports season. Let's not even get there, because It's going to be disappointing enough if that actually happens. There's no reason to it. And it's weird, because in our society, for some strange reason, if someone takes a one step, like, and they put the red line or put the line in the sand here, and then someone takes it beyond it, well, then everybody else has to take that particular line. Everyone has to march. If you stay in front of that line, or you don't move with that line, all of a sudden you're starting to get a whole bunch of guff. And some people don't like it. I applaud people that are willing to take all the bashing that they might get on social media for it, as long as they're, I don't want to say conforming, but it's essentially falling in line with everybody else in what they're doing. Because here's going to be the interesting question. Once we do get to a certain point, whether it be through spring sports season, whether it be the Legion baseball season, hopefully they still have it because that's obviously in jeopardy, as we know. Legion
Well, they
baseball.
canceled the regionals and the World Series today.
Exactly.
So.
And so, I'm just very curious who's going to be first to take a step forward and say, okay, hey, we're going to be the first ones. We're going to lead this thing out, and we're going to start bringing back live sports.
Well, I'll say this. If we get into fall and we're not going to have football, whether that's NFL, college, and high school, I think we're going to have a lot of bigger things to deal with in our society than just worrying about if some sport's going to be played. So I'm not saying, mass hysteria or anything, but we're going to have some major issues that we're going to have to deal with. So we could keep talking about MHSA. We spent about 15 minutes on it though already. Well, no, I'm sorry. We spent about 12 minutes on it. So let's shift and talk about your Buccaneers.
Well, we started with them. You want to talk about them again?
Well, I'm trying to get it out of the way. So you got 5 minutes. Tell me why their uniforms are so great. I root for a team that doesn't have to change uniforms every couple of years to keep fan interest. So, you tell me why it's important that they're changing uniforms again. Go.
I have to explain to you why it's important they change their uniforms. It all starts with those awful, awful, awful numbers. All right? Like, I don't mind the jersey concept. Had they gotten the numbers right, I don't think people would have been as upset. But those numbers are just horrendous. They are terrible. I don't know who designed them at Nike, but I hope that person was fired or reassigned to something else because he can't design numbers. Because that was a terrible design from the get-go.
It's just an alarm clock. There's nothing wrong with that. Really, they were sounding the alarm of how cruddy the Buccaneers were going to be. So that's why they were on there.
Well, it's kind of funny because someone posted today the first game with those jerseys, Josh McCown was the quarterback. He stepped back to throw a wide receiver screen. The ball slipped out of his hands. He picked it back up, threw it, and he threw a pick. That was the first play in those new uniforms for the Bucs offense. So obviously that was a tale of things to come. And we have just been completely awful in those uniforms. And so now with these, listen, they're homage to the Bucs who won the Super Bowl, the good Bucs in the 90s, early 2000s, which I'm good with. The pewter jersey looks really good. I did not think pewter would look good as a jersey and pants. Like, I was kind of just happy with, let's just leave pewter as the pants and the helmet, stick to red, or you can go to the orange creamsicle as the jersey, but just leave the pewter alone at the pants. But it actually worked out pretty well. A lot of people liked it. I think, as crazy it is, but especially in today's modern sports, like you go back to the 70s, the 80s, early 90s, were wearing a Dallas Cowboy uniform that meant something because of the star, but otherwise NFL they're important today, and I think having a clean, so we'll see.
Yeah, sorry, we have some technical difficulties there. So, yeah. In fact, it's saying my internet connection is unstable. Hold on a second. I'm going to pause this, okay? Okay, so overall, though, you like the new uniforms?
Love the new uniforms. Right now debating on who I'll get. I feel like I do have to get a Tom Brady jersey because, like, how many times do you get a guy like Tom Brady that's going to put on your favorite team's uniform? So I'm feeling like I'm going to get a Brady jersey. I'm debating on a Mike Evans or a Devin White jersey. Vita Vea might be a guy I get, or we'll see who the Bucs draft this year. But, those are some of my early thoughts on jerseys that I will buy.
Okay, so you can't – okay, so obviously the Bucs are your favorite jersey. If you had to buy another team's jersey, what team would you buy?
See, I don't know why you put me in this tough spot. Why would you do this? This is terrible. Don't put me, because I don't know if I'd buy another team's jersey. Like, honestly, and this is how sick it is, because I'm going to make you happy, because it makes me really, really unhappy. I'm going to make you happy.
Say it.
I might buy a Green Bay Packer jersey. That would be kind of my lead. A Seahawks jersey, maybe. Yeah, I can't think of another jersey that I would buy. I mean, I definitely wouldn't buy a Niner jersey. I definitely wouldn't buy a Cowboys jersey. I ain't buying anybody from the NFC East, or the NFC least, I should say.
Yeah.
Not buying a division rival. I might get a Kansas City Chiefs jersey. That would be another one. I might get a Kansas City Chiefs jersey.
You know, that would probably be close to the one I would get. I mean, obviously a Packer jersey. Some ones that I would look at, I think the Chiefs, I would look at them. I'd look at the Bills, actually. I like the Bills jerseys.
Okay.
You know,
honestly, well, here's the question. Modern-day Bills, or are we talking Jim Kelly Bills?
No, modern day.
Okay.
Modern day. And then, honestly, the new Charger jerseys the modification they've made with them I've really liked.
Oh, yeah. Those Charger jerseys would be fun to wear just for giggles and grins.
Yeah. And if you could get a throwback, I would totally go for an old Seahawks throwback. But I grew up a Seahawks fan. So, I mean, I would have to get a large in jersey. So.
See, going throwback. Those Philly greens look pretty nice.
Those are
Houston Oiler jersey would be fun to wear. I'm trying to think, who else would I wear? As much as I hate Miami Dolphins fans, I do like their classic Dolphin look. Like when the Dolphins every year play that one game where they go back to their retro look.
Yep.
I'm telling you right now, they should just wear that the entire time. That is a clean look for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah,
they should go back to that.
Yeah, they shouldn't have changed as much as they did, especially the logo, the dolphin with the helmet is
that
perfect.
Logo never should have changed.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. What next?
Well, we got to talk Major League Baseball, because they're talking about having an actual plan to bring baseball back by like early June, which would be pretty cool. But their idea, like I heard some of the national people screaming into their microphones, "What are you thinking? What are you doing?" Like, I think we have to put this in a little bit more perspective. The organizations are putting out ideas to see what public opinion would be. Yeah. These are ideas. This doesn't mean they're going to wholeheartedly go through with this. Like, this can be the only idea, and we're going to go through with it. They're testing the waters for public opinion, and I think that's what Major League Baseball is doing with this idea.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. If you don't know what the deal is, they're talking about playing every major league team coming into Arizona, quarantining the players at hotels and only letting them go to and from fields and playing games at empty spring training facilities, and also Chase Field, which is where the Diamondbacks play. The one thing that's the concern is there's not a lot – they haven't really given a time frame on it. So players have the assumption that it could be as long as 4.5 months. They could be quarantined doing that. And I think if that's going to be the case, there's no way players are going to go for that, because they can't even see families at that point.
But here's the question, though. Can Major League Baseball players go a full season without paychecks?
Oh, I think
that's another factor that not a lot of –
Yeah, well, it definitely is money driven on both sides. I mean, MLB needs revenue. You have all these TV deals and stuff, and then you have players that need to be paid. And we're not talking Clayton Kershaw, Mookie Betts players, Christian Yelich players. We're talking players that, are making the league minimum, which is, a paltry, $550,000. So how are you going to make it on that? So no, it's just, that's the trouble, and that's what they're going to have to figure out. I want to see baseball extremely bad, but I also want to see it as close to normal as possible.
I mean, again, it all tempers on what we see, because like I said, what could happen between now, because it is early April, and what happens between now and May could really change. I mean, that's ultimately what it's going to come down to. How much changes between now and then? Because I think ultimately everything's going to revolve around, okay, can we try this in May? Because as we push the time back, the likelihood of an NBA season happening, likelihood of an NHL season happening, Major League Baseball. I mean, their percentages are dropping by the day on whether or not we are going to see it. Now, again, I also want to say this, putting it in perspective, because we are talking about sports. In the grand scheme of all things, as you and I both agree, John, and for people that watch this and listen to this, the most important thing is that we all can be safe and we all can be healthy and we can all not worry about catching the coronavirus, or if we do, that there is something that's going to help us get better and not kill us. So that is priority number one. But talking from a sports perspective about all these things, I just think that obviously players are going to have a hard time saying, okay, yeah, I'm going to go with a whole year without my paycheck. They're going to try and want to find some alternatives. And so I think that's the biggest thing, and I think Major League Baseball can also adjust this. Maybe you play a full month. You just play, you talk about that self-quarantine. You play for a full month. They get a week or two off. They get 2 weeks off to self-quarantine with their families. They come back, they get tested. And if they have the virus, they can't play. They have to self-quarantine for another 2 weeks or whatever. And maybe we do something like that. Again, this it's not like this plan is the only plan. There can be adjustments.
No, everything's fluid. So,
right.
Yeah, everything's fluid. I mean, I think baseball's just trying to throw things against the wall and see what sticks and see what they can agree with the Players Association. So, okay, so I'm going to ask you a question about baseball. Tell me why you're a Brewers fan.
Yes.
So we apologize for that up front. You're a big Yelich fan.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, so you're going to tell me.
That's also on my list of getting jerseys.
Okay, so you're going to tell me why Cody Bellinger was the better player last year over Christian Yelich. Go.
Because Christian Yelich didn't finish the season, Cody Bellinger did.
Oh, the likely excuse.
They were neck and neck the entire way, and Christian Yelich was getting hot towards the end of the season before I think he blew his kneecap or whatever. I mean,
that's because his PEDs were really kicking in right there at the end of February or at the end of August.
Yeah. Okay.
He got. I heard he was getting stuff from Ryan Braun. So hey, are you drinking? This is a family show. You can't be drinking.
You were drinking.
Oh.
Why are you yelling at me? We agreed to these terms, okay?
I don't know. You're wearing the hat. Question in the background. You have your jersey, but you have this car. Is that an In-N-Out Burger? Is that an In-N-Out Burger calendar?
No, it's just a car calendar that I got from one of our local advertisers, the corner shop. Oh, they always take care of my vehicle.
Okay,
whenever,
you can't
whenever has trouble, I take it to the corner shop.
You can't advertise. We're not getting paid for that. Come on. All right, in football, you played football throughout high school, right?
Yes.
Okay, I played in 7th grade.
I
hurt my groin.
And you played armchair quarterback for the rest of your career?
Basically, yes. I'm the greatest at telling quarterbacks what they should have done, because I do that all the time.
Just like with Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre.
Yeah, pretty much. No, what position did you play?
I started out as a linebacker, then moved to defensive line.
And which did you like better?
Well, I always loved defensive line because I could go sack the quarterback. But I was
How many sacks did you have?
I think career-wise, probably. I think I had 2 varsity sacks. So.
Okay. So we're going to have to wrap up here because I think we're hitting the limit. But I got to ask you, you've seen Tiger King?
Yes, I have seen Tiger King. Supposedly there's a new episode coming out next week.
There is another one coming out. I guess they're filming this week from what I heard. But you're from Florida, and Florida's notorious for Florida man. Are you surprised there's not like a alligator king or a gator king, or is there a gator king that we just don't know about yet?
Well, there's a place called Gator Land that has a ton of gators, but again, that's like a zoo. I don't know. I mean, there might be some people that have gators as pets. I don't know. I wouldn't keep a gator as a pet. Those things they're docile for the most part, but you just never know when one's all of a sudden going to get hungry. Plus, you can find those damn things in your pool.
Have you ever ridden a gator?
No, I'm not that stupid.
You never got on the back of a gator?
I saw a guy ride a manatee once, and then he got in trouble.
He got in trouble?
Yeah, because you can't touch a manatee.
Yeah. You can't mess with manatees.
No,
I mean,
you
that's
can't.
just a sea cow. That's all that is.
I know, and the guy thought it was a smart idea that he jump on the back of a manatee, and he got in trouble for it. He got fined for
I
it.
heard in Florida that that's what they put on their Wheaties is manatee milk. You have giant manatee farms, like cow farms, dairy farms in Wisconsin, but you have manatee farms and you guys milk them and then put it on your Wheaties and you drink it. Is that true?
Not sure where you're getting your information from. That's I've never heard this before. This is as a Florida person, I've never heard this rumor.
Huh. Weird. Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of Florida people.
Yeah, you're full of crap.
Disney World, have you gone?
Yes,
Yes. Okay. Universal Studios?
I did, but I was like in 6th grade, so I don't remember it.
So you never got to do Harry Potter's thing?
I didn't care.
You didn't?
I wasn't a Harry Potter fan. Like, I actually maybe read the first chapter of the book, and that was about it. Otherwise, I never read the books.
Have you watched the movies?
Oh, yeah, I've watched the movies, but I can only watch them one time, and then I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Are you even a human?
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yep, I'm human.
Okay. Well, I don't know. If you're from Florida, I don't know. I don't know how that all works.
I preferred SeaWorld. I liked SeaWorld more than any of the other theme parks.
Oh, okay. So you liked captive killer whales and the abuse that they caused and everything.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, you know, SeaWorld also has a reputation of saving and releasing wildlife. By the way, this is a funny story. Speaking of manatees, SeaWorld, and this happened when I was back in Florida a couple of years ago. It got so cold in Florida because there's always at least 1 or 2 nights a year that Florida actually gets a real cold spell, like where it gets to be 25 degrees. So the water's really cold. Manatees will congregate close and make tight groups to try and keep themselves warm because obviously they're not used to these colder waters.
Well, the warning make it melt. Yeah, go on.
The manatees ended up getting stuck in a bigger storm drain, and so they couldn't reverse and get themselves out. So SeaWorld was called in and saved over 20 manatees and got them back into the wild shortly after that, relocated them, not far, but relocated them into a safer spot, and they were fine. And it was well done by SeaWorld. People seem to forget that part about it.
I know, I've heard that story, but one of them got away. Her name was Barbara. Barbara Manatee. And what I heard, now this is just hearsay, I heard that one night you were bored and you were on Tinder and you swiped right on Barbara Manatee. Is that true?
I hate you. No, not true at all. Again, unfounded rumors and slander. That is slanderous, John Kemper.
I don't know.
Watch yourself. I know who's starting these rumors. It's you.
I'm just telling you. I just see stuff on Twitter and I just retweet it and save it for later. So
I thought you were gonna say. The reason why they got stuck was because of Carol Baskin.
That's a better one. See, you're funny sometimes.
Sometimes I got a few gems.
We'll wrap up here, but we'll wrap up, but then I'm gonna talk for 5 more minutes. You know what I'm talking about. Did Carol Baskin kill her husband?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, listen, you want to know why we know she killed her husband?
Probably got SeaWorld to help him.
She explained how, with a straight face, and said, if you want tigers to eat someone, you dip them in sardine oil. Who knows that?
I read that.
How do you know that? What's the experiment that said sardine oil is the specific one? Because I definitely would have thought, well, just pour some, blood on them from red meat.
Well, when I was a Tiger Scout, I read about that oil. Yeah.
When you were a Tiger Scout?
Tiger Scout, yeah. Before I lost my mullet. So, anyway.
Wait, you had a mullet? I thought you were just bald when you came to the room.
No, I never had a mullet. Okay, well, we're going to wrap this up because Zoom has a 40-minute limit for free, and I don't want to pay for this. So, I'll tell you what. Yeah, we'll throw this up, and maybe people will watch it, and then they'll throw up, and maybe we'll do another one.
Sounds good to me, man.
Okay, dude. Make sure you throw that hat away.
Yeah, you do the same with your Yankee hat.
I will.
And your Dodgers hats.
No, I got to keep one of them. I'll keep the Dodger one. So
I'll send you a Giants hat.
That's great. I need something to clean tires with and all sorts of things. So, all right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
See you, John.